Hello friends, it is Christmas. Ignore the pumpkins in the background of this video. It is, in fact, Christmas. Hey friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to a preview of a bunch of different games that I have here surrounding me. These are 6 different games, which I will say right now, I have 5 of the 6 games here, and I won't be going through every single one of them. I'll be going through 3 games, the 3 on this side of me, and then I'll go quickly into the other ones if you guys are interested. But these are 6 different, easy to learn, easy to get to the table, family weight games that are in Christmas ornaments. Yes, you heard that right, Christmas ornaments, which I'll again say these are prototype, everything is subject to change, and all of them are going to be in this kind of metal tin Christmas ornament, because the whole point of this campaign is to bring you some easy to get to the table games that are in Christmas ornaments, which I think is so much fun. So all of them are going to be in one of these metal tin Christmas ornaments, but as of right now we only have one of them in the Christmas ornament, and then the rest of them are in prototype containers. But yes, these are 6 different games coming from Garland Games, who is helping sponsor today's video, so a huge thank you to them. And they are all designed by a bunch of different designers, some pretty well-known designers that you might know from other games. We're going to get into all of that when I go through all of the games individually. But yes, this is going to be a Kickstarter campaign if you guys want to go and check it out. I will have it linked down below. You can get these games in sets, so there are going to be 2 different sets. There's the family game set, and then there is the strategy game set, and I'll go through what games are in each of those. And then you can also get it as one big set of 6 Christmas ornaments in this really cute like Christmas tree container. So yes, if you guys are interested in hearing more about these games, then just keep on watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoy. Also, hit the subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Without further ado, let's get into all of these Christmassy games, shall we? All right, so getting into the video, I do want to mention that this is going to be a slightly different layout from my other preview videos, because typically I only have one game. I would go through the aim of the game and the components, and then I'd get into how to play of the game, and that would be the video. But I am going to be kind of doing all of that within each of the sections of this video for each of the games individually. And like I mentioned, I'm not going to be going through all 6 of the games. I chose 3 of the 6 games that I thought would be a good fit for my viewers and kind of what I typically like as a gamer and what I think my audience would like as gamers. So we're going to be going through these 3 over here, but we also have these 2 here, as well as the one that I do not have, which is Snow Day. So let me quickly go through those 3 and give you guys a little quick snippet for each of those. All right, so starting off with the first one here, this is the only one that, like I said, is in the final kind of metal tin ornament, and this is Run Reindeer. This is designed by Jordan Goddard, and this is one of the 3 in the family pack, so it's a little bit more of a lightweight game. And this one here is a press your luck racing game where you are racing as reindeers to Santa's sleigh in order to possibly lead the sleigh. It says here, the race is on. Can you beat all of the other reindeer to Santa's sleigh? Press your luck in this racing game to see who will lead the sleigh tonight. So this one is 2 to 4 players, plays in about 10 to 15 minutes, and is for ages 6 and up. So that is Run Reindeer here, the first one in the family pack. The next one here is Misfit Toys, and this is the second one in the family pack. And this is designed by Daryl Andrews as well as Adrian Adamescu. So those are the 2 designers that brought you Sagrada, if you're familiar with that one. And this one is, again, in the family category, so it is a little bit more of a lightweight, easy to get to the table, easy to play. All of these are generally like that, but obviously the family pack is a little bit easier for younger children and stuff like that. But this is Misfit Toys, and this is a word game. It is a matching and rhyming game. So you are going to be, it's like a quick thinking kind of game where you have a bunch of items scattered about, and you are going to try to find the 2 items that are rhyming words. So it says on the back here, oddball toys are scattered about out spot the rhyming parts first to win. A fast game of sharp eyes and quick thinking. And this one here is 2 to 10 players, so it's a great one to play with large groups. Plays in about 5 to 15 minutes, so a really quick game, and is ages 6 and up. So that is Misfit Toys. And then the third game that I quickly wanted to mention that I do not have here is a game called Snow Day. It is in the 3 strategy game pack, and this one is designed by Kwanchai Morier as well as Gina Reuter, and this is a dexterity game. It is a flicking game where you're going to be having a snowball fight, and you're going to be flicking these snowballs in order to hit things, and you're trying to avoid your mom and dad, which I think is so funny. Unfortunately, I don't have a physical copy here, but this one does play 2 to 4 players. It plays in about 20 to 30 minutes and is for ages 9 and up. All right, so those are the 3 that I'm not going to get too much into, but let's get into the other 3 that I'm going to give you a little bit more of an in-depth look at so you can get a better feel if this is a campaign that you want to go and check out and maybe grab a few of these fun little Christmas games. All right, so starting off with the first game here, this is Snowman Shuffle, and this one is the 3rd and final in the family pack. This one's designed by Scott Eaton. It plays 2 to 4 players, plays in about 15 to 20 minutes, and is for ages 6 and up. And this is a pure drafting game. And what we are going to be doing is we are going to be building snowmen. And what you're going to do on your turn is you're going to be doing 2 mandatory actions. The first thing is you have to roll a snowball. And what you're going to be doing here is you're going to be taking one of the topmost cards of these piles, because each of these piles are actually made up of 4 different snowman pieces. So you have the snowman base, you have the snowman chest, the snowman head, as well as the snowman's hat. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be building up these snowmen of those 4 pieces. And at the start of your turn, like I said, you do have to roll a snowball first. And that is you taking the topmost card of the pile and rolling it in one of the 4 different orthogonally adjacent directions. So I could move this snowball here, 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 or here, and then you're going to take one of the pieces. So I could decide, let's just say I'm going to move this here, and then I might decide to take this base here and add that to my first snowman. And when you are rolling a snowball, you can move any card on top of any other card, but when you are building your snowmen, they do have to go in the order from bottom to top. So you always have to place a base first, then a chest, then a head, then a hat. So on my next turn, I could decide to move, let's just say, this chest piece here over to on top of this base, and then I would then take another piece. I could decide to take this chest piece and place it here. And the reason why I might want to take certain things is the scoring for the snowmen. So basically at the end of the game is going to end once every player has built 3 snowmen, and then you're going to score points based off of the buttons on your snowmen. So you're going to be scoring all 3 of your snowmen, and whoever has the most victory points at the end will be the winner. And the way that you're going to score this is you are going to look at the color and shape of the button on your base snowman. So mine here is a blue heart, and then every button above that is going to score victory points based off of whether it has both matching, the shape and the color, or just one of the 2 matching, so either the color or the shape. So if you're able to match both things, so both the shape and the color, then you will get 2 victory points. If you're able to match one thing, either the shape or the color, you'll get 1 victory point. And then if a button is not matching either the shape or the color, that will be 0 victory points. So as of right now here, I have 2 buttons. One is a blue triangle and one is a blue heart. So the blue heart matches perfectly with my base button, so that will be 2 victory points. And then the blue triangle, it's not the same shape, but it is the same color, so I would gain 1 victory point for that. So far, this snowman has 3 victory points. And quickly, the only other thing that I have to mention about Snowman Shuffle is the fact that if you are able to roll a snowball into an empty spot, so if I decided to roll this onto this empty spot. Because I rolled it onto an empty spot, that gives me another free roll, and you will continue to get free rolls until you move one of the snowballs or snowman pieces onto an already established pile. So if you were able to chain the snowballs into empty spaces, which obviously this will happen more so towards the end of the game, once these piles start to diminish, you're going to be able to continue until you place one piece onto a pile. And like I said, this will continue until each player has 3 completed snowmen. So each snowman having those 4 pieces. You will count up the victory points that you've gotten for your buttons, and then whoever has the most victory points will be the winner of Snowman Shuffle. So moving into the next game, this is the second game in the strategy pack, and this is a card game called Merry Flipmas. And this is designed by Grant Lyon, which if you do not know, Grant Lyon is a fellow content creator here on YouTube. He has the YouTube channel called Grant's Game Rex. I definitely recommend going and checking him out. But also it is designed by Scott Eaton as well. And this is a card game where you're going to be trying to sing songs. You're going to have a hand of cards, 6 cards in your hand, and the cards that you have in your hand are your carolers. So there are different kind of tones of carolers. So there's the alto, there's the soprano, the tenor, and then also the baritone, I think is what the B is. But basically what you're trying to do in this game is you are trying to create a quartet of carolers from cards in your hand to sing the specific carols that you have here in front of you. So this is a game for 2 to 4 players, plays in about 10 to 15 minutes, and is for ages 9 and up. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to get a hand of caroler cards, and these are going to have one of the 4 letters on them. So it's either the A, the S, the T, or the B. And each of these carols are going to need a specific set of 4 letters in a specific order. And the interesting thing about this is that when you get dealt the hand of cards, you are going to have to keep them in this exact order, and you will notice also that they are 2-sided. So they're going to have the carolers on the front, and then you will be able to see what is on the back of that card. And on your turn, you're going to be doing up to 2 actions, and the actions that you can perform is flip, discard, and reserve. And what you're ultimately trying to do is you're trying to create the different patterns that each of these carols want. So for example, here we have Hark the Herald Angels Sing, and this specifically wants BSSA. So I have to try and get that specific order in my hand. And like I said, on your turn, you're going to be doing up to 2 of the 3 actions that are available, which like I said, are flip, discard, and reserve. So quickly getting into those 3 actions, the first one is flip, which you are going to take a group of cards, so they have to be beside each other. This can be a single card that you choose to flip over. This could be all of your cards that you could choose to flip over, but you are choosing a group of cards, no matter the amount, and you are flipping them to the other side, because you're always going to be able to see on the front of the card what is on the other side. And I will mention that when you are flipping the cards, wherever you take them from, you will flip them and then place them right back where they were before. You can additionally discard, so again, you're going to be able to pick 1 to 6 of your cards. They do have to be beside each other. You're going to take those, discard them, and then you're going to draw up to that many cards. So if I decided to discard 2 cards, I would be able to then draw 2 cards from here, and then you're going to add them to one or the other side of your hand. You can't place them into your hand in specific spots, but you're going to draw as many cards as you discarded, and then you're going to place them both on the left side of your hand or on the right side of your hand. And then the last thing that you can do is on your turn, you can decide to reserve one of the carols that are in front here, which I will say that this is going to be dependent on player count. So it's going to be the amount of players playing. So this is for a 4-player game. But once we were finished with your up to 2 actions of flipping, discarding, or reserving, you would then check to see if you were able to perform one of those carols. If you were able to, you're going to take that in front of you. A new carol would be flipped over. You would then take the letters that you were using for the specific carol. you would discard them from your hand, draw up to those 6 cards, and then that would be your turn. This would continue around and around with players taking their turns, performing actions in order to try to get these specific lettered patterns to gain those carols, and then the game will end when one player has a specific amount of carols. So this is a race. Whoever is able to get that specific amount of carols, which is going to be based off of player count. So if you're playing a 2-player game, it's the first player to get 6 carols. 3-player games, the first player to get 5 carols, and then a 4-player game is the first player to get 4 carols. When that happens, whoever has achieved that first will be the winner of Merry Flipmas. All right, and moving on to the last game that we have here. This is the 3rd and final game in the strategy set, and this is Rap Battle. And I would say that this one is probably the most complex, I would say, or the most going on in this game. Rap Battle is actually a dice rolling, contract fulfillment, and tableau building game, which is kind of crazy that you can get all of that within this little Christmas ornament, really, which is going to be. But basically in this game, players are going to be playing as elves in the workshop, building toys for Santa. This is a game that is designed by Kristen Mott as well as Scott Eaton. It plays 2 to 4 players, plays in about 25 to 35 minutes, and is ages 9 and up. And like I said, you're going to be building toys, and each player is going to get their own little card here. This is a Coco card. And I will mention that some of the art in this one is not final. They are prototype, obviously. But you guys will see with the Coco cards that the elves are not colored in, but they will be, as well as a lot of the toys are kind of the line drawing of the toys and not colored as of yet, but they will. And additionally, each of the cards, when they are face up, are going to show the amount of victory points that they're going to be worth once they're flipped over, because you're going to be building those toys, placing them into your workshop, and then eventually wrapping them, which is flipping them over, taking them out of your workshop, and then gaining the points for those toys. So yes, each player is going to start with their Coco card. It is going to be face up, so it's going to be active, but as you use your Coco card, it's going to be flipped over, and then you're going to be able to take an action to flip it back up. And then each player is also going to gain one of the small toys, because there are 4 different sizes of toys. There is a small toy, medium toy, large toy, and extra large toy. And this is basically how many dice are going to be needed in order to build that toy. So the small toys are going to be needing 2 dice faces, the medium toys are going to be needing 3, large toys 4, and extra large toys 5. Which you might be thinking, Jenna, there are only 4 dice available. Well, let me tell you exactly how a game plays, and you will understand why. All right, so in front of me here, I do have my own area with my small toy as well as my Coco card. We also have the other 3 players' Coco cards here. But in the center of the table, you're going to have the market. And there's going to be 2 different piles of toys. There's going to be the small and medium toys that are going to get you 1 and 2 victory points when they are wrapped and flipped over. And then there are the large and extra large toys, which are going to get you 3 or 4 victory points when built and wrapped and flipped over. So those are the 2 piles there, and what you're going to be working towards on your turn. So on your turn, you're going to be doing 4 different things. The first thing is you're going to be rolling the dice. And the dice are going to be made up of a bunch of different die faces. There are a bunch of different kind of things that you're going to be doing in order to build the toys. Each of the toys is just basically going to require certain die faces. But additionally on these dice, there are going to be 2 other die faces, which are the wrap die faces. So there's going to be a single wrap and a double wrap, which we'll get into what that means. But on your turn, the first thing that you're going to do is a little bit of Yahtzee. You're going to roll the 4 dice that you have here, and you're going to be able to roll up to 3 times, reserving any dice that you want to keep, and then re-rolling the ones that you want to re-roll until you have rolled 3 times, and then those will be your final dice to use on your turn. So once you are finished with rolling the dice, which I have done that, I ended with 2 pink, 1 blue, and 1 green. And I'm actually looking at the market here and trying to determine the different faces that I want in order to build these toys. So I see here that this little jewelry box requires 2 pink and 1 blue, so that's kind of what I was going towards. Once I was finished with that, you can move on to using abilities. So the fun thing about this game is that you are going to, as you build these different toys, you're going to be building up a little bit of a tableau of abilities. So each of the toys that are on your workbench that you have built, that you haven't wrapped yet, are going to give you abilities. So it's this interesting thought process of, do I want to wrap this gift in order to gain victory points, or do I want to not wrap it yet in order to keep that ability that's going to help me build more toys? So currently right now, this little spin top here that I have on my workbench is giving me an ability to re-roll the green die faces. So if I had finished those 3 rolls and I still wanted to re-roll this green die face, I could do that additionally 1 more time because of my special ability here. But other things here that you could do is you can exchange different die faces. So once I get this jewelry box, which will be the next step of my turn, I'm going to have an ability that I can change the single and double wrap die faces into a pink die face. So there's different abilities that you're able to change die faces. You can multiply die faces. You can also get additional kind of die faces. It kind of acts as an additional die, which is actually how you're going to be able to get those extra large toys, is with those additional abilities. So once I was finished using any of my abilities from the toys on my workbench, as well as you can use your Coco card. Once you use your Coco card, you do have to flip it over, and you're going to be able to take another action, which is going to be to flip it back over, which is a Coco break, which I'll get into. But you can always use your Coco card in order to be 1 additional wild die face. So that is a really nice ability to have there, but again, you have to flip it over in order to use it, and then you have to take a Coco break in order to get it back. But once you are finished with the abilities, you're going to move on to your 1 action for your turn. So the 3rd phase of your turn is taking 1 action, and you have to choose 1 of the 3 main actions, which is to build a toy, wrap toys, or take a Coco break. So like I said, you can take a Coco break if you really want to get your Coco card back. That will be your 1 action for your turn. You would flip back over your Coco card and you'd have that available for a future turn. Another thing that you can do is you can build, and that is what I'm going to do on my turn. So I did successfully roll 2 pinks and a blue, so I'm going to be able to build this jewelry box here, and that's going to be placed into onto my workbench. And your workbench is going to have a maximum of 4 cards. So if you have 4 toys that you've built here, you can't build any more toys until you have wrapped some of these toys on your workbench and taken them off of your workbench. And once you are finished with building a toy, you would replenish the market. And then speaking of wrapping toys, the 3rd action that you can perform on your turn is wrapping as many toys on your workbench as you can. So obviously, if this is an action that you are working towards on your turn, you would be trying to get as many of these wrap icons from the dice as possible. So if I ended up with, let's say, 3 wrap icons on my dice, I would then be able to take the wrap action, and I would be able to wrap as many gifts as I could on my bench. And each of the toys is going to require a certain amount of wrap icons. So my small toy here requires 2. This toy here, which is a medium, will require 3. So on my turn, my 1 action would be to use these 3 wrap icons in order to wrap this jewelry box. I would flip it over, place it off to the side, and that would be 2 points at the end of the game. But like I said with this, is when I decide to wrap this jewelry box, I am then giving up my ability that this jewelry box gives me. The last thing that you're going to do on your turn is you're going to refill any of the market. If you did decide to take the build action on your turn, you would refill from the same deck. So I do have them in lines here. So if I did build a large or extra large, I would refill with another large or extra large toy. But that would be the end of your turn. You would refill the market and then it'd move on to the next player. Play is going to continue like this, player by player in turn order, until the game ends. And the game end is going to happen when one player has hit 15 victory points. So again, this is a very interesting part of the game where you do want to give up your cards and wrap your gifts because it is a race to 15 points. So again, a balance between wanting to keep your abilities in your tableau, but also wanting to wrap those gifts in order to get to those 15 victory points first. Whoever is able to get to 15 victory points first is going to be the winner of Wrap Battle. All right, friends, so that is going to be everything for today's preview of these 6 different Christmas ornament games. Definitely go and check out the Kickstarter campaign for this one. I will have it linked down below in the description box if you guys are interested. A huge thank you again to Garland Games for sponsoring today's video. I appreciate it so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. Also, hit the subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Comment down below which one of the games that I explained today that appeals to you most, one that you're really excited about. Let me know that down in the comments. I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends!